I really consider this as a great honor to be with you in this Inspired 2020 conference. And Teach for India has been a great organization, and it will continue to make rapid strides in education. And not because people make life-changing decisions and then come to education sector for a while, but to have an experience in education, but also because I have a personal experience of working with so many TFI fellows for the last 8 to 9 years. So, and then my learning from them has been really, really, very deeper and then very wider. So, and then whatever we are today, it is also because of Teach for India, fellows who helped us go to another orbit and then another horizons. So, friends, I have been asked by Vignesh and others to talk about my journey in education in general, and then Telangana social welfare residential schools in particular. I'm very happy to talk about this. This education is a subject which is, although I'm a police officer, I'm a veterinarian by education and then a police officer by profession, and educator. When I say educator, not the guy who goes continuously into classrooms and then teaches, but the guy who empowers the teachers in the most challenging environments, and then the teachers, the person who empowers the uh, teachers in the classrooms which are filled by most marginalized students. So that is my description in brief. So, uh, friends, Telangana social welfare residential education and then tribal welfare residential education institutions are one of its kind in the country, wherein almost 200 to 210,000 students, that is 2.1 lakh students from the most marginalized communities are there with us from fifth grade till college. Okay, college is a latest tradition from 2016 onwards. So they have been with us for the last. They are with us for the last for about 7 to 10 years. So we take the students in fifth grade and then we lead them after college, and then the entire education is in English medium. And we are a state funded organization. In other words, we are part of the welfare departments of the government. So we are not part of education department, we are part of the welfare departments. So many people ask me this question: why you are not part of education department? This is very important. This is a policy matter on which I want to spend about a couple of minutes. See, in regular education departments, what has happened over a period of 40 to 45 years, the real people who deserve to get educated in the classrooms which are meant for all the children, so those people could not achieve the learning levels or could not enter the orbit of opportunity, orbit of prosperity, the way the policymakers, the way the founders of this nation wanted. We continue to have marginalization, we continue to have oppression, we continue to have discrimination both inside and outside the classroom. So this is one of the reasons why where we, in spite of these regular government day schools, we continue to have bonded labor, we continue to have Devdasi system, we continue to have Jogini. Then we also had lots and lots of problems on the social front. So I think there is some gap in what our policymakers wanted, and then what we implemented. That's the reason why in 1984, Andhra Pradesh government decided that we must focus more on these vulnerable sections by keeping them with us. This is again a radical decision, that by keeping them with us at least for 220 days and leave them to the parents for 145 days. So during that time, the teachers will act as dorm parents. Teachers will will stay with them and then show them the different world was the philosophy based on which these residential schools were started. Well, so till bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh into Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, we had about 295 schools in Telangana region. But I thank our Honorable Chief Minister, who has seen the value of this experimentation, and today, and he invested so much in this under KG to PG mission. Today we have 1,000 residential schools. From a mere budget of 750 to 1,000 crores, suddenly our budgets are rocketed up to 15,000 crores. So now today I'm so proud to tell you that today we have about 25,000 young women who have postponed their marriages to pursue their higher education, which is not an ordinary figure and which is not an ordinary addition in this country, my dear friends. So this is what Telangana social welfare residential education institutions have been doing. Today we have, we have social welfare institutions, we have tribal welfare institutions, we have BC welfare institutions, we have minority welfare institutions, we have general institutions. Many people ask me this question again. So are we not segregating the people who are already segregated? When will we integrate? So again, let me answer this question before you ask me. So we have, in every welfare institution, we have a percentage which is allotted to those people who are not part of this society, who is not part of vulnerable groups, so that there is a very careful and cautious integration of all the students with the general society. So it's like this, very simple. When a child just born and child is not able to walk, child is not able to breathe, and child is not able to function normally as like any other child, so we keep them an incubator. Today, social welfare residential schools are nothing but they are the incubators of of the most vulnerable children, talented but poor children from the most marginalized communities. So this is what we have been doing for the last 35 years. But after the formation of Telangana, suddenly we saw an exponential growth. Instead of a linear growth, suddenly exponential growth. So I thank the government, the current government, for this kind of infusion and then injection of confidence and trust into this system. Then the second thing, many people ask me, what are the challenges that you have faced? Because like TFI fellows, you are not a trained teacher, you are not a B.Ed teacher, you never had MEd, or you never went to a PhD course in education sector in great universities. But what has been your experience? My experience has been very challenging. But after 8 years, I can say, this is my 9th year, I can say it is very gratifying. First year was like I was seen as an outsider. And then many teachers unions, they did not like me because they thought that I would torture them in the name of discipline. But all those things, when I told them, this is what I want to achieve, and this is what I want the children to get into. These are the things I want the children to learn, and then these are the places where I want my children to go. When I told them my intentions, many of the teachers, they understood the problem, and then they understood my intentions, and then they fell in line. If I have to use the word fell in line, the phrase fell in line, let it be. So they fell in line. Yes. So now the point here is, so how easier, how difficult it was to bring the change what we are today. Today, as we speak here today, the IIT advanced results are pouring in, and then we have achieved much better results when compared to last year results. In JEE mains, last year we had 500 people who qualified. Today we have 709 students qualified for main, and then now the IIT advanced results are also pouring in. I'm also hopeful that this year our NEET results will be historic. At least 80 to 100 students will crack MBBS. Some of them will be in open competition. Okay, and then at least 25 to 40% of them will be girls. So that is a kind of achievement that we have got. And then we have students in Indian Maritime University, we have students in Ajim Premji, we have students in Delhi University, we have students in many prestigious institutions, many Tata Institute of Social Sciences, many prestigious institutions. So the question here is, how could we achieve this? When I entered social welfare, there were at least 6,000 vacancies, but today we have, for 18,000 positions, we have about 1.49 lakh applications pending. We are a government institution. How did we do it? The only thing that I wanted to tell you, to bring a change, this is very important for all of you, and this is my learning. I'm not giving a sermon here. I am trying to share my experience. To do something, you have to do something really transformational, to do something cataclysmic in education sector. First, you must make, as a leader, you must make your intentions very clear, very, very clear. Second thing, you must be on the ground to the best possible extent in a larger system like ours, like 2.1 lakh children, that too in boarding schools, is not a joke. Many people get BP, high BP, and then diabetes when they keep 100 students with them, but we are keeping 210 students. Imagine the kind of emotions that flow in the system right from morning to evening. So you, to manage all these things, you need to have a you need to have a solid experience, solid touch with the ground. If you lose contact with the ground, then whatever great things you want to do, I don't think you will be able to achieve all those things. So second thing is having a great contact with the ground. That has helped me in a big way. Third thing, many of the schooling systems, they ignore the stakeholders. I will start with the politicians as an important stakeholder. I'm dealing with the public system. Politician is a very important stakeholder because he is the person who takes the decisions on the floors of assemblies and then legislative councils. If they are not convinced about the utility of the system, then no matter how much ever well-intentioned you are, then you will not be able to achieve in a big way. You will not be able to scale it up. So politician in a public system is a very important stakeholder. The second important stakeholder is the teacher, but more than teacher, the parent. The parent must have trust. If you focus only on teachers, you will be working on a supplied side of solution. You will be making your product. You will be making your offerings very very glamorous and then very efficient. But there are no takers for your products. Who are those takers? Parents. So first we must capture the imagination of parents and the communities and the larger society. So third lesson, what I've learned is capturing the imagination is very important, particularly when we deal with the poorest of the poor people. So so instead of getting into the problem, getting into the schools, getting into the classrooms, and then again trying to make the teachers to teach in a better manner, I think that did not work in our case. We went very, very unconventionally. We went to parents, we tried to talk to them, we tried to stay with them, we tried to eat with them, and then we tried to listen to them. Then we got so many ideas. We brought those ideas back to the classrooms. We brought the parents into the classrooms and then make them talk to the teachers and make them talk to the students and then make them party to entire decision making in the campuses, which has helped us tremendously. That is the fourth thing. Then the fifth one is there is no linear solution in education sector. Like you empower the teachers and then teachers in turn go to the classrooms and then empower the students. No, there are no, this solution has not worked. This solution has not worked efficiently. Let me tell you very honestly. And we are in 21st century. This solution will not work. This is my conviction. We must have a multi-pronged strategy, my dear friends. On one side, you empower the students. On the other side, you empower the teachers. On the other side, you empower the students as well. Both of them have to be simultaneously empowered. If you empower only teachers, then the students, if they are not empowered, then whatever you do, it is like a banking approach. You know everything, and then you dump it in the classroom, and the teachers, students are not willing to consume it. But if you make the children feel why, you start your lesson with why should I learn matrices? Why should I learn Venn diagrams? Why should I learn the capital cities? Then why should I learn the multiplication? What is the utility? Why? Start with a why and connect it to the real life context. Probably, that will really help the students to consume the data and then utilize it for the real life. So empowering the students for consuming the data and then critically analyzing the data is also equally important. So mere empowerment of teachers is not enough. So empowerment of the students, but empowerment of the teachers and students is also not enough. We must empower the parents because they are the decision makers. We are living in India. So they are the people who are going to take life-changing decisions. So if I don't empower the parents, then I'm gone. So that's the reason why we have a provision for parenting program every week. Every week I train about 200 parents on thanks to Corona, we have Zoom calls now. But otherwise, we used to have future parenting camps, and then we train the parents as leaders, and these leaders will in turn go to the communities and then become ambassadors for all the best practices. Okay. Then the fifth one, to generate interest, you must inject energy and enthusiasm into the system, but not by bringing fabled Sania Mirza or Saina Nehwal or all other people whom we generally know now, or the PV Sindhu. When you deal with a particular ecosystem, you must search for the heroes in that ecosystem and then show them to the communities, show them to the students, and show them to the teachers. This has been a very important learning for all of us. So these are some of the takeaways, and then it will be sometimes very frustrating. And then, for example, our training, we do at least 25% of the training in the midst of communities, in the midst of trauma, in the midst of despair, in the midst of hopelessness, in the midst of challenging environments. We do 25% of our training, teacher training, in the communities. We call the parents, we call the students, and then to share their experiences, to share their aspirations with the teachers. So our training is a very organic thing, very realistic thing. That's what Paulo Freire said. You have to contextualize. You have to contextualize. So that is what we try to do when it comes to our teachers. So, and we call a lot of people, like we call manual scavengers, we call agricultural laborers, we call victims of sexual abuse, we call victims of domestic violence, and we call senior citizens to the classrooms and then make them talk to the students. And we consider that also as a part of our learning. Lastly, no organization will survive in this world if it doesn't experiment. And we have 20% of our schools doing experimentation continuously. This is where I thank Teach for India with folded hands, my dear friends. I bow my head before you. Because of you, because of many Teach for India have volunteered to stay in the schools and continue this experimentation and help the principals to do the experimentation in a seamless manner, in the bold manner, in the courageous manner. Because experimentation requires guts. Experimentation requires freedom. Experimentation requires a different thinking. And Teach for India has been very, very helpful in this regard. So because of Teach for India fellows, we deployed them as academic consultants in our schools. And then today, probably Telangana is the only state where we have public schools doing a very serious experimentation in pedagogy. So we have 20 freedom schools, and where freedom school, the authority in the classroom is shared by both teacher and the students. And academic consultants are orchestrating the entire conversation in the classrooms. And then today, our freedom schools are very different from the regular schools. And after tasting the success in the freedom schooling, we have expanded their coverage to another 67 schools. So total we have 87 freedom schools, and Teach for India has been a very important stakeholder and the driver in the entire experimentation, my dear friends. So no organization will survive if it doesn't experiment. So we want to be an agile organization, we wanted to be a futurist organization, and that's why we experimented, and then today we are like this. So that is another important thing. Probably that is one of the reasons why we have been a subject matter for the case studies in a Graduate School of Education and Harvard University as well. So these are some of the learnings, my dear friends. And then lastly, everything is not rosy. Let me not end with this with a rosy picture. No, there are challenges. There are definitely challenges. One of the important challenges is I need to work harder and harder and harder on winning the trust of parents. Our journey is just 20% over. Remaining 80%, I have to really go to the parents. Second thing is, then I need to really transform the classrooms. How can I make the classroom conversation as more realistic, as more outcome-based, rather than just a transaction which is done only to master the examinations, crack IIT, crack NEET, or crack CLAT. No, my transaction is not that. But if I totally ignore that, probably I'm not being very realistic. We are not living in a society where everything is provided for. We are living in a society where you have to compete for a few scarce resources. So in such society, you need to make people competitive. So there has to be a blend, and then we are finding it very difficult to achieve that blend. So can I have a different curriculum? Can I have a different syllabi? Or can I have a different timetable to monitor to achieve a balance between these things is again a great challenge. Third, motivating the teachers. How do we, we have not been very greatly successful. We have been successful, definitely, otherwise we wouldn't have got these results. But we have not been greatly successful in making every teacher remain as self-motivated, whether it is interior forests in Adilabad or whether it is urban spaces. But every teacher has to be some or other equally motivated. But our journey in this is just a work in progress. We are yet to achieve our Everest movement in that as well. So these are, and winning the trust of the government is has been really good. I don't want to spend too much time on that. And I think, let me also tell you, this has been a fascinating journey for me. And then those of you who are into this journey, I think you'll equate with me, and I think my words will definitely resonate with you. Any work, any selfless work, any the committed work in education sector will give you lot of satisfaction. And I'm today, I consider these 9 years of my service. I have finished 26 years of service in Indian civil services, and these 9 years of my service, I think they are any day much more gratifying than remaining part of service in police department. I love police department. I've done whatever I could do as a young police officer in the department. But these 9 years in education sector, I think they cannot be matched with anything. They're unparalleled. They gave me tremendous amount of satisfaction. So I think I can cherish this throughout my life. So thank you very much for this, for giving me this opportunity. So I wish you all the very best, and then please keep working harder, and then there is no room for frustration. And I think you have to create the better world. Better world is not given to us. We have to create the better world. We have to work for the better world, and then that won't come that easily. You have to keep on experimenting. For example, we experimented with giving children the responsibility of entire classroom conversations, and then today we have super students who are earning 1,500 rupees per hour. When I joined police service in 1995, I got 2,200 rupees as my basic salary. But today, my children are earning 1,500 rupees per hour. Their parents are earning only 300 rupees per day. So that is an experiment. So please keep experimenting. That is what my message to all of you, my dear friends. And this is what we have learned in Telangana social welfare schools. And then I keep blessing us, keep guiding us with all your good work and with all your findings on the ground. Thank you so very much. I wish you all the very best.